Alright guys, welcome back to another video with Atomic Token Games. I'm Jake Steppen.
And I'm Wade Wagner.
And today we're doing a how to play video for Spirit Island. Alright guys, before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Especially if you're new, it really helps us out as we're getting started here.
Make sure to take a look at the links in the description. We're getting our Patreon set up. We've got access to an exclusive Discord, live streams. We're going to have some discount on our merch that's coming soon. And make sure if you like Spirit Island and it looks interesting, you can message us and ask us some more questions. But we have a link to it in the description on Amazon, so make sure to check that out. So this is our how to play video for Spirit Island. And we're going to start with the initial setup and then just go into how to play in the different phases of the game. So strap in.
The first step of our setup here is we're going to start with the invader board. So you'll want to open up the invader board like this. The first thing to do is to grab 4 fear tokens per player and add them into the fear pool. We're playing a 2-player game here, so we're going to grab 8 tokens total. Next thing to do in your setup for each game is to set up your fear deck. So the fear deck have these cool purple cards here with the creepy shadow. You'll shuffle these and you'll take 9 random fear cards. You'll sort them into groups of 3, so you'll place 3 cards below the terror level 3 divider card that you can see here. Then you'll place 3 cards on top of it. And then next you have your terror level 2 divider card, and then you'll place the last 3 fear cards on top. And just like that, you'll have your fear deck ready to go. Next, we set up our invader deck. So the invader deck here, these cards will show where the invaders will take action. So each one has a specific land on it. There are 3 stages of invader deck: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So for setup, all you'll do is you'll shuffle them. You'll remove 1 random card from each stage, and then stack them so that the stage 3 cards are on the bottom, followed by the stage 2, and then the stage 1 cards are on top. Just like that. And then the last step here to set up, we're going to take our Healthy Island cards. So these are double-sided, but we're just going to shuffle them and choose 1 at random. You'll put this on the blight spot of the board, and then you'll place 2 blight per player on the blight card. So we're playing a 2-player game, so we'll take 4 blight.
Okay, so next on setup, you're going to take one of the island tiles, a random board tile per player, and you're going to put them in any orientation. You can see we have them oriented kind of side by side here, but they can go any of those sides can be connected to each other to create any board orientation you want. Then you're going to look at the symbols on each of the boards, and you're going to place a corresponding token on each of those symbols. So you can see that has a Dahan symbol. We're going to place all the Dahan where it says to place Dahan as denoted on the board. We're also going to place cities, towns, explorers, and blight on the spaces that have those symbols as well. Then you're going to take the minor power deck and the major power decks, shuffle, give them a good shuffle, and you're going to place them next to the island boards.
For player setup, each player should select a different spirit board. So here we have Lightning Swift Strike, and you want to grab a set of colored presence and reminder tokens, and you'll want to grab the 4 unique starting cards for your spirit. So the starting cards will match your spirit board. The next thing you want to do is you'll want to flip over your spirit board and check the backside for your setup instructions. So each spirit has a specific setup that tells you how many presents you will start with on the island. Lightning Swift Strike says to place 2 of your starting presents on the highest numbered sand. So each player will choose a different board piece to start their tokens on. But once you've done that, you'll flip your board back over, place your remaining presence tokens on your energy and card play tracks, leaving the leftmost spot uncovered. The last step in your setup is to take the top card of the invader deck and reveal it, and then you'll take an explorer and place an explorer on each matching land on the entire island.
Okay, so once you're finished with setup, the board should look something like this. Make sure you have your energy, your invader miniatures, your Dahan, and your Blight easily accessible to be able to put on to the board at a moment's notice. To win Spirit Island, you must eradicate the invaders on your island according to the victory conditions shown on the board. Here, the victory conditions on Terror Level 1 are you have to eradicate all of the explorers, the towns, and cities on the board. But as you play the game, your abilities will generate fear, either by destroying invaders or by other cards that will just generate fear on their own. If you generate all of the fear in the fear pool, then you draw a card from the fear deck. Once you do that, you reset the fear pool, and you continue to generate fear as you destroy invaders or use abilities. When you get through the first 3 fear cards, you get to Terror Level 2. And as you can see, the victory conditions have changed. Now, if you have destroyed all of the towns and all of the cities, then you win. When you move the terror level over, you immediately check to see if you have met the victory condition. If you have destroyed all of the towns and cities on the board, then you win. You may continue and generate fear until you get to terror level 3. Terror level 3, you can see the only thing you have to eradicate on the island are the cities on the board. It may go so far that you generate enough fear to unlock the fear victory condition. If you have generated enough fear to draw all the fear cards in the deck, you win once you draw the last fear card and reveal the fear deck victory condition. There are also 3 loss conditions in Spirit Island. The first loss condition is if all of a spirit's presence tokens have been removed or destroyed from the board. Then all players lose the game. The other loss condition is if once the blighted island is flipped over on the blight card, if all of the blight has been removed from the blighted island card, then the players immediately lose. The third way to lose the game is over the course of the game, you will be drawing more and more explorer cards. If the explorer deck runs out and you go to draw a new explorer card during the explorer phase and you can't, the spirits then lose the game.
Spirit Island is a game that's played in rounds. Each round, the first phase that happens is the spirit phase, where the spirits get a chance to improve their spirit through taking growth actions. So this happens simultaneously. Every spirit does this on their own. When you take a growth action, you choose one of the options and do everything included there. So examples of this include gaining a power card. When you choose the gain a power card option, you draw 4 power cards from the deck, and you'll get a chance to look at them. You'll choose one to keep and add into your hand. The other ones get discarded. If you choose to gain a major power, it works the exact same way. Major powers are stronger than minor powers, though. So when you choose to gain one permanently, you have to permanently discard or forget another card in your hand. This can be any of your starting cards or any minor powers that you may have gained, or even major powers that you may have gained through playing. The next type of action that you can take is gaining energy from the supply. All you'll do here is just grab the corresponding amount of energy and place it on your board to use later. Next, you have reclaim cards. So this action allows you to pick up any discarded cards that you have from your hand. As you're playing, your cards will be discarded. So reclaim cards will give you a chance to pick those up again and be able to play with them. The last type of growth action that you'll see is to add presence. So this add presence action allows you to take the leftmost presence from either of your tracks, the energy or the card play track, and add it to the board according to the range listed on your player board. You'll get to add it that far away from one of your presents that's already on the island. After each spirit performs their growth action, the next part of the spirit phase is they collect energy according to their revealed presence track. So you get to collect the rightmost amount shown. It's not additive here. And then you also get to select cards from your hand to play according to your number of card plays reveal. Now, an important part of this is once you've selected your cards, you need to pay for them immediately by taking energy from your pool and placing them on the card so you know you've paid for them. Sometimes there's 0 if you're lucky. This phase is all done simultaneously, so each spirit is doing this on their own at the same time. And once everybody has gained their energy and paid for their cards that they will be playing this round, you move on to the next phase.
After the players have set up their cards during the spirit phase, the fast power phase starts. Each player can activate their Red Hawk power cards and any innate powers with the same symbol on their board. There are no turns during this phase, so spirits can complete their actions all by themselves in any order they choose.
After all the spirits have completed all of their abilities during the fast power phase of the game, next up is the invader phase. Now the invader phase has multiple steps which are performed in a specific order, which the order is listed right here on the board for you to reference later. But the first thing that will happen is to activate the ability on the Blighted Island card. So if you've reached the point in the game where you have a Blighted Island, there will be an ability listed here that will happen each round. After the Blighted Island card, you'll activate any earned fear cards that you have. So as you play, your fear pool will run out and you'll earn fear cards, and you'll activate the fear cards here. Now remember, the fear cards, the abilities on them are based on your current terror level. So right now we are at terror level 1, the yellow one, so we'll activate the top ability of the fear card. After you've done that, you move on to the invader actions. So these are shown at the bottom here with the land cards. They go in order from left to right. So we start with Ravage, move on to Build, and finally Explore. So the Ravage action only occurs in lands that are matching the type shown on the card in the Ravage space.
Invaders attack the land and the Dahan at the same time, and then the Dahan will counterattack. Explorers deal 1 damage, towns deal 2 damage, and cities deal 3 damage. The Dahan can take 2 damage each, and damage cannot be split up among them. For example, 3 damage cannot be split among 3 Dahan. You must kill 1 Dahan and deal 1 damage to another. The land can take 2 damage before a blight is placed on the land from the blight card. If there is already a blight on the land, then the blight cascades, and you must place another blight on an adjacent land. Blight destroys 1 presence from each spirit when it is placed. But ravaging only happens on lands that match the invader card and also has invaders present. So in this example, in Jungle Land number 3, there are 2 different invaders present, a town and an explorer. The town does 2 damage, the explorer does 1 damage. So they do this damage simultaneously, so the invaders will do 3 damage to the land. They damage both the land and the Dahan simultaneously with the same damage. So they will deal 3 damage to the land, which causes it to blight. That 3 damage also kills 1 Dahan and damages another one. Dahan represent the native people of the island who are in unison with the spirits trying to protect the island. So once the damage has been done by the invaders and the blight has been applied, the Dahan will then counterattack. Each Dahan does 2 damage, which can be split up however you choose. So in this case, it would be more efficient to deal 2 damage to the town and not waste both damage on the invader.
After invaders have completed all of their Ravage actions, next up is the Build action. This occurs just like Ravage, only on the land type shown on the Build card.
This action, again, only takes place in lands where invaders are present. So for example here, in Desert number 7, there are no invaders present, therefore they cannot build in that area. The default build action is adding 1 town to any land, unless there are more towns than cities, in which case you add a city. So for example, in Desert number 6, there's already a town there, and the towns outnumber the cities. Therefore, you will add a city there instead.
So last up after the Build action is the Explore action. For this one, you'll flip over the top card of the Invader deck, and add an explorer into each of the land types shown.
You place explorers in every land that matches that type as long as there are already towns or cities in that land, or the land is adjacent to a town, city, or ocean. In this example, if we were exploring the wetlands, wetland 5 on this other island is not adjacent to any towns or cities and does not have a town or city in it, therefore an explorer cannot be placed.
Stage 2 invader cards will have this special house symbol on them. This doesn't affect normal gameplay unless you're playing against an adversary, in which case they will activate a special Stage 2 ability. The Stage 3 invader cards are the worst because there's actually 2 different lands that will be activated as you get this far into the game. So the invaders will take 2 ravage actions, 2 build actions, or 2 explore actions on each of the lands shown here. So after the invaders have taken their entire phase, they've done all of their ravaging, building, and exploring, then comes the slow power phase. So during this phase, the spirits are able to activate all of their power cards with the blue slow symbol here, a blue turtle. And this power phase works out just like the fast power phase, where spirits can use all of their abilities simultaneously to affect the board. After the spirits have finished all of their slow power actions, the last thing that happens in each round is time passes. So during this, players discard all power cards that they've used this round and set them aside, and all damage resets on the island. So any Dahan that were partially damaged heal up the full life. Also, all invaders, all of the towns and cities that took damage are reset back to full life. The last thing you should do is remove any reminder tokens you had on the board, reminding you to use your powers. So on the board, there are 4 types of lands. You'll also see these land types listed on the invader cards. The 4 types of lands are sand, which is this brown one, forest, which is the green one, wetland, which is the blue one, and mountains, which are the gray ones. Now on the board, on your island, 2 lands can be adjacent even if they are on different boards, or if they're touching just by a corner. So these 2 lands here are adjacent to each other. The ocean is the dark blue along the edge of each board. Lands touching the ocean are considered coastal lands, and lands not touching any ocean are considered inland. So let's talk about fear next. Just a reminder, the fear pool consists of 4 fear tokens per player. Every time fear is added, you slide the fear tokens down until you have moved all of the fear tokens, at which point you can add a fear card into your earned fear card pile. When destroying invaders on your island, anytime a town is destroyed, you earn 1 fear. And anytime a city is destroyed, you earn 2 fear. Any fear earned on your power cards will tell you the amount of fear earned from those. Removing or replacing invaders does not earn you any fear. Each fear card has 3 levels to them, terror level 1, 2, or 3. Remember, when you look at fear cards, to check the terror level currently on your invader board to see which ability will activate. Occasionally you will earn multiple fear cards at once before they're activated at the start of the invader phase. If that happens, you can activate the fear cards in whatever order you choose. Blight is another very important part of Spirit Island. Every time the invaders ravage, if they deal 2 or more damage to the land, a Blight token is added to that land. If there are any Spirit Presence tokens on that land, 1 Presence token from each Spirit is destroyed as well when a Blight is placed on that land. Eventually, you'll run out of Blight tokens on your Healthy Island card. When this happens, you immediately flip over your Healthy Island card to the Blighted Island side. This side has an ability that will kick in at the start of each invader phase, and it will tell you how many Blight tokens to add to this side of the card. In this case, it's adding 5 Blight tokens. For the rest of the game, this is all you get. Once the Blight tokens run out, you lose the game.
Here's an example of a power card that your spirit may be able to play. The power card has a name, in this case, Rain of Blood. It has a cost, which must be paid during the spirit phase. In this case, the cost is 0. It has a speed indicator, either fast or slow. And there's also the range. This range is based off of where your presence is on the island. And this card can only affect a space as far away as the number indicates from your presence on the island. In this case, this one also has a special symbol which denotes a sacred site. A sacred site is a place on the island where you have at least 2 of your presence in that space. Some cards will specify what land you can target. In this case, the target land can only be a mountain or a jungle space. Some cards will affect other spirits. The cards also show the elements that that card will activate for the spirit, shown on the left. These are active as soon as you pay for the card. The effect on the card explains what you can do. The first type of effect is a damage, destroy, or remove. These all generally do the same thing. These deal damage and hurt invaders. Remove or replace does not add fear. Only dealing damage or destroying invaders will add fear to the fear pool. Another effect spirit powers can have is just adding fear to the fear pool. In this case, this card adds 2 fear to the fear pool. Defend reduces damage done by invaders to the land and Dahan that round. Place a reminder token on the target land. Remove Blight is another action that spirits may do. The Blight removed goes back onto the Blight card. Another effect spirit cards may have is the Gather effect. In the Gather effect, you target a land. In the case of this card, you must target a land with no invaders. Then, this card says to gather 1 explorer or 1 town from any adjacent land. Another action you can take is the push action, where you target a land and you push the invaders indicated from that land to an adjacent land. One thing to remember when playing spirit cards is that if a card has multiple effects, you only target 1 land on that turn. As you play power cards, you'll notice that the symbols on the cards match the symbols on the spirit boards. These cards will activate these elements when you play them, and if you have enough elements activated, you can use one of the innate powers on the board. One of our favorite things about Spirit Island is the flavor of these spirits, kind of talking about the story of that spirit. We have the setup, and also they give you directions on how to play that spirit, what it excels at, offense, defense, control, or fear generation. On the other side of the board, the spirit has unique abilities and rules that have to do with its playstyle. We have the growth actions up top. These are the actions you can take during the spirit phase. Then we have the energy track and the card play track. These will tell you how much energy you generate each turn and how many card plays you can have each turn. We also have the innate powers. These are powers that you can execute as you generate elements by playing cards. Some spirits will have element generation and other abilities built into their presence track. So if it is uncovered, you can do that ability. You can then use those elements to use your innate abilities that turn. One way to spice up your gameplay is to play against adversaries. These adversaries will add difficulty to the game. They'll give you additional loss conditions that may trigger a game loss for you, and they will change the fear deck, and you can increase and almost treat it like a campaign. You can see that on these adversaries, they have different levels. As you increase the difficulty of the adversary, you add cumulative effects to the adversary that continues to make it more and more difficult. Also, when you explore, sometimes in the Stage 2 and Stage 3 cards, you will see the building symbol that will have an additional effect for whichever specific adversary that you're playing against. You can also change your normal play by playing against scenarios. These will have specific ways you need to set up the game, specific rules changes, and it will have consistent effects throughout the game that will trigger under certain conditions. It also shows the difficulty level. On the other side, we have more of that flavor that we love about Spirit Island, and also recommendations about maybe what spirits to play or other things that may help you in that scenario.
For solo mode in Spirit Island, you will select one spirit to play as, and you'll use one island board. Any powers that would affect other spirits instead affect yourself. This is an exciting way to play the game because there's nobody else to cover your weaknesses. So if your spirit is weak at attacking, there's no one that can attack for you. And this can introduce a whole new level of strategy. All right, and that's it for Spirit Island, guys. Thanks for watching. Before you leave, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to us. We got tons of stuff coming every week.
Make sure if you like Spirit Island, check out the link here, and you can check it out on Amazon. That'll help us out and support us.